Welcome back to the deep dive. So you've shared some really intense source material with us today.
It's incredibly insightful, yeah.
All of it is focused on this intersection of intimacy, safety, and desire.
And specifically through the lens of autistic identity.
Right. So our mission today feels pretty crucial. We're going to unpack how to build that kind of profound, authentic connection.
The kind we all want, really.
Exactly. The kind we all crave, but without paying the price that, the world so often demands.
Which is losing yourself in the process.
Totally. Just vanishing.
And what's so striking in these sources, especially from Jaime Hoerricks, is this one core concept.
Okay.
Coherence as the core of intimacy. It changes everything.
Coherence. So it's not about finding a missing piece in someone else.
Not at all. It's about being whole and intact first. That self-possession, that coherence is the non-negotiable foundation for any kind of safe desire.
That makes so much sense, because if you approach desire without that, you're coming from a deficit.
Which basically invites consumption.
But if you're intact, then you can actually have reciprocity.
And this whole journey, according to the material, it starts with something they call the first flicker.
The first flicker. I love that.
It does. I mean, we're all trained to sort of intellectualize connection, right? To wait for the words.
For verbal consent, for the official story.
But this material argues that the truth, the real safety of connection, it starts pre-verbally in the body. The first flicker is that initial instantaneous signal.
It's like a gut feeling, but way more precise. It's described as a subtle rearrangement of your breath, or just this quiet tilt of your attention.
And a physical shift.
Yeah, a physical shift you feel deep down before your brain can even, build a thought around it. It's your original compass.
And that brings us right to one of the most provocative statements in the whole thing.
Okay, what is it?
Autistic clarity was never the deficit. It was the threat.
Wow. Okay, let's just sit with that for a moment.
Really?
Clarity was the threat. That suggests the difficulty wasn't with the person being honest.
No. It was with the external systems, the culture, that had to receive that honesty. Well, think about it. Our dominant culture is built on, what? Ambiguity, social games, coded language.
Performance.
So much performance. In a system that rewards masking, where you almost never say exactly what you mean, direct truth-telling is like a bomb going off.
It's unsettling.
It's profoundly unsettling because it just bypasses all those unspoken social contracts.
It cuts through the fog, and then suddenly everyone else's performance is just exposed.
It is. It's a really beautiful way to frame it, and it makes the case for why we have to learn to trust that initial quiet internal signal.
Which is a perfect lead-in to our first section, the pre-verbal compass and sensory intelligence.
The body knows. That's
Yeah.
the core message. And for certain minds that are good at sensing patterns, that knowledge is immediate.
The sources explain it isn't just about noticing little details, it's about sensing deep patterns.
And recognizing intention itself.
Right. Not as an idea, but as a physical property. Like intention has texture, rhythm, and shape.
It's a kind of high-definition pattern recognition. The body is doing this silent, quiet assessment of coherence.
Way before the thinking mind gets around to building a story.
Exactly. It's not interpretation. It's just direct sensory data. It tells you if someone is regulated, if they're safe, if they're honest.
So that's where intuition stops being this, mystical thing.
And becomes actionable intelligence. The source calls it pre-language truth.
The emotional geometry of a moment.
I love that phrase. You're not guessing. You're reading the structural integrity of the interaction.
And you detect that geometry through these tiny little signals.
The source gives such vivid examples. So let's start with the gentle signal, the green light. What does that actually feel like?
It's a softening in the chest, a physical sense that when someone speaks their truth, your own breath just settles. It doesn't scatter.
A feeling of arrival.
Yeah, like a subtle downward pull to your energy. Now, contrast that with the sharp signals, the warning flares.
This is where the detail gets so specific.
It's unforgettable. I mean, the description of a warning signal as a faint metallic taste in the back of your throat, when someone's charm just doesn't quite match their cadence.
Or that feeling of your skin tightening under your clothes when someone smiles, but the smile feels borrowed. Detached.
And these things are not, and this is so important, they are not oversensitivity.
Which is always the critique, right?
Right.
You're being too sensitive.
It's a total mislabeling. These microsignals are just intelligence.
Intelligence in its most ancient form. It's the earliest architecture of safety. If your breath is unsettled, if the rhythm is off, The body is flagging the environment as potentially unsafe.
And you have to treat that as data, not a flaw.
Absolutely.
So if we trust that data, that changes everything about how attachment forms. Which brings us to section 2, the architecture of autistic attachment.
And in this model, attachment doesn't just, wander in politely.
No, it's immersive. It's nonlinear.
The source says it arrives like a change in weather, a quiet front rolling through the body, a sudden shift in the emotional climate.
And this is the key distinction for me. We do not get to know someone. We recognize them.
We recognize them.
Okay, but I want to challenge that a little bit, because that immediate recognition, that immersive connection, it sounds risky.
How so?
Well, if it's so fast and nonlinear, how do you stop that intense recognition from just collapsing into codependency or, consumption?
That is the essential tension.
Right. Doesn't it sort of contradict the need for coherence we just talked about?
It does, and that's why coherence is so vital. The challenge is that this depth of feeling, this sudden immersion, is often misunderstood. It gets pathologized as intensity.
As being too much.
Or unstable.
Yeah.
But the source makes a great distinction. Raw intensity just spills. It pours out without checking the vessel.
It's undirected, overwhelming.
But reciprocity.
Yeah.
Reciprocity is the discipline. It's the practice that makes sure that this powerful connection is met with a grounded, mutual willingness to stay intact.
So the goal isn't fusion.
The goal is two selves, intact enough not to consume one another.
Okay, so it's less like two rivers merging into one.
And more like two highly resonant instruments playing in perfect pitch. They amplify each other, but they keep their own distinct vibrations.
That reframes the longing itself. It's not this vague, needy search for completion.
No, it's a highly targeted desire for a very specific resonance.
It's longing defined by precision and truth.
Right. It's described not as some fleeting spark, but as slow lightning along the sign, a steady burn.
And you need a steady self to handle that kind of slow burn.
You do.
Which brings us perfectly to how we maintain that self. Section 3. Boundaries, soft autonomy, and erotic coherence. If desire is this immersive tide, how do you keep your anchor?
Well, the danger is huge, because so many of us have a lifetime of training that equates love with self-abandonment.
We learn to contort ourselves, to treat our own coherence as negotiable.
Thinking we have to dissolve a bit to keep the connection alive.
So to fight that dissolution, we have to redefine what a boundary even is. It can't be a fence.
Or a hostile barrier, no.
Yeah.
Boundaries, as the source puts it so beautifully, are the texture of the self, the green of our being.
The grain of our being.
They're the conditions that make true closeness possible. A boundary isn't stay away, it's this is the shape I am, and this is how you can approach me safely.
This practice of staying anchored, they call it soft autonomy. How does that actually work when you're feeling that intense pull?
It's an active choice. It's choosing to pace desire, to move slowly, to check in constantly with your body.
It's choosing honesty even when your voice is trembling.
And naming your needs without apologizing for them. And this is where sensory consent becomes absolutely vital.
Sensory consent. So treating touch or even just shared space like a conversation.
Exactly. Every interaction is a moment where a yes has to be grounded and fully present, and a no is just instantly honored, not debated.
That's the language of trust between two coherent nervous systems.
It is, and this leads to the core, I think, almost revolutionary insight from the material.
Which is?
Coherence is erotic.
That is a stunning concept.
It is. It suggests that the most compelling, attractive state of being isn't neediness or fragility.
It's the self, intact, steady and awake.
And that intactness is what makes you capable of receiving someone else's depth without just vanishing into them.
Staying coherent isn't being cautious. It's actually devotion to the relationship's potential.
Yes.
So now we have to talk about the things that try to dismantle that coherence. Section 4. Identifying and refusing performance traps.
The theatricality of charm.
This is a deep dive into social manipulation.
The sources describe people who use connection like a stage, and your attention is their fuel. They deploy charisma, flattery.
Like fog.
Like fog, yeah, to obscure what's really going on.
And the most dangerous tool they have is often mirroring.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Instantaneous mirroring is called a weapon polished to look like intimacy. It's frictionless, it's easy, it's terrifyingly fast. And for someone who values authenticity, it's so confusing. Your brain might register the mirroring, but your body registers the lie underneath.
And the world often mistakes that clear, genuine directness for For naivety.
or social clumsiness. And that misreading is exactly what creates the environment for exploitation.
A culture that rewards performance is where predators thrive.
They do.
So even when your mind is confused by the charisma, by the performance, the body is sending different signals. How do you tell the difference between the body's signal for manipulation and its signal for, say, safe arousal?
Manipulation has a specific cadence, a physical pressure. The conversation moves too fast for your breath to keep up.
It's designed to overwhelm your processing speed.
Right. You might notice a room seems to change temperature when someone gets closer, a forced shift in the atmosphere.
Or a smile that looks like a stock photo. An echo.
Yes, and a critical cue is whether the connection pulls or meets.
Pulls or meet.
Charm consumes. It needs your attention as fuel. It creates a debt. Reciprocity co-creates. It gives back as much as it gets.
So the emotional ledger stays balanced.
Exactly. And stepping out of that script just means refusing to meet performance with more performance. You stay quiet, steady, and embodied.
That grounded refusal brings us to Section 5, safety as praxis and luminous love. If safety isn't a locked door, how do we actively build it?
You build it beam by beam, breath by breath.
Yeah.
We have to see protection not as the opposite of longing, but as the condition that allows longing to unfold safely,
Without costing you yourself.
which requires explicit, gentle, shared practices.
Pacing the intimacy, choosing not to rush the resonance.
And using those check-ins, we have to normalize asking.
Get gentle scripts.
Absolutely. Things like, can we check in? Or does this pace feel right for your nervous system?
What is your body saying right now?
It moves intimacy out of assumption and into collaboration.
And the check-ins have to be based in sensation, not just speculation. You're not asking, are you happy? You're asking, are your shoulders soft? Does this touch deepen your presence or pull you away from yourself?
That is the difference. It's sensory attunement, not emotional speculation. It allows two nervous systems to share space without risk of collapse.
And the ultimate practice here is just refusal.
The refusal to meet the world's demand that we fold ourselves smaller,
Mute our brightness.
conform to some compliant mold.
We refuse the contortions. We refuse the story that says we have to become less true to become more desirable.
And in that refusal, a really luminous vision of connection becomes possible.
A love built on recognition.
On honoring those deep sensory rhythms, it's an intimacy that expands both people, rather than diluting either one. That's the vision.
It's such a powerful realization. I mean, love that requires your disappearance is just consumption. It's not love.
It's not.
Safety is the structure that keeps the door open, so you can walk toward desire knowing you won't vanish when you get there.
You meet love by staying whole. The integrity of one is the prerequisite that makes the coherence of two even possible.
They're not just looking for a partner.
We're looking for a resonance that honors the shape we already are.
So as you integrate all this, just take a moment. We spend so much energy prioritizing performance over presence.
All the time.
So what small, subtle signal is your body sending you right now? Maybe it's a tension in your jaw, a quiet flutter in your chest, a shift in your breath.
Something you've been taught to ignore.
Exactly. What happens if you finally listen? Because as the source closes, the body still knows, the breath still knows, the first flicker still knows. And now finally, we listen.